Hi everybody, this is Riffi back with another freak tip vid for you, and this time we're going to be looking at an entire production. Now if you remember, not too long ago we decided to do a track for charity and I produced the instrumental which is open here in Logic. So I'm going to go through it bit by bit, um, let me say section by section over the next couple of vids so we can see how it was made, what instruments I used, that kind of thing, and hopefully it'll help us all to learn a few things in as far as production and mixing is concerned. Again, I'm not the best producer or mixing engineer out there, so this is pretty much just based on what I know. Feel free to comment below, subscribe to the channel. If there's anything you think I left out or is incorrect, feel free to comment and put in your opinion as well. But anyway, you'll excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold right now. But we've already got the project open up in Logic, which was my favorite digital audio workstation. And we'll go straight into it. So this is the entire song, all the instruments here, colored and neatly organized. The majority of the instruments I used in here are actually sampled instruments, but I did go in and record some of them, like the drums here are largely recorded, largely. Not all of them are sampled instruments. Okay, so today we're just going to look at the drum section, how I built that up, and how I mixed it, hopefully over the next 10 or so minutes. So we're going to start with the kick, and I'll just switch to the mixer view here. And okay, that's the kick there. Now if you take a look closely, all of my drum sounds are routed to bus 1. Now the reason why I put all of these in buses is because sometimes I want to affect them as a group, as a drum group. Sometimes I want to compress them, make them sound a bit tighter, which is what I did here. So bus 1 is over here, and I've actually labeled it drum bus. And you'll see I have here the UAD 4000 bus compressor. This was found on the which console? Sorry, I just forgot which particular console they modeled this from. And it's got a bit of a slowish attack, which is kind of like what I like about it. Putting it on a drum bus, it's perfect for compressing vocals and drums on a bus because it doesn't have a quick attack, so it lets the snap or the transient of the bus of the drums kick through, and then it compresses and kind of like tightens everything, puts everything together. So this is the reason why I had bussed all of these drum sounds together. But we'll start with the kick here. Let me just go back to the arrange page and mute everything else except the kick. So we'll unsolo them bit by bit. So I'm just going to play the kick so you can hear it. Okay, there's something's not happy with my cores. I don't know why it's freaking out just that one core. Let me just check here. Just move that plug in there. That sometimes helps. Still freaking out. Yeah. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to live with it. But anyway, that's the kick. Just mute that. Still freaking out. Okay, well, we'll just sort of have to make do. I really don't know why that particular core is freaking out. We'll just have to kind of go through it. You'll hear a few glitches. Just try and ignore them. But anyway, so here we go. Um, on the kick, I have placed an EQ first, and you'll see I went in for that area there, which is about 780 or about 800 hertz, because there's I wanted that particular bit to stand out. So I'm gonna bypass this and play the kick, and you can hear it's really heavy. So I put in that EQ to roll off all of that low end energy, but also just have it kick through a little bit. That sound over there. Let me just magnify that. You can hear that kind of like slap. So I wanted that to come through. Okay, so that's the EQ. And I put in a compressor. I got this compressor from Soft Tube. I like it on kicks because, again, it's a slow attack, as you can see here, to let the transient come in. And it's got a fast release so that you don't get the kick ringing a lot. So I like this compressor, and we'll just have a listen to it without it. And this is it with. So it just gives it a bit of meat. Now the next instrument was an udu, which I recorded in the studio, and this is what it sounds like. Now, as you can see, it's panned slightly to the left. This is it with it in the center. I panned it out left just to give, you know, the drum section a bit of width. Didn't affect it because, well, I pretty much liked the sound as it was. But as you can see, it's routed to bus 16 and 17, which are effects. 16 is over here. It's a delay from Cooper. It's a half on the left and a quarter on the right. And the other bus is a plate reverb, also from UAD, the AMT 140. Probably my most favorite plate reverb emulation yet. So that's just to give it a bit of space and width as well. That's it without the delay and the reverb. And with it. So the next instrument was, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but yeah, that. Okay, initially what I did was I recorded this sample and then I sped it up, so it doesn't sound as clean because of that. But anyway, I put on UAD LA2A. This is a compressor, one of the most transparent compressors out there. Even the hardware version, I've used it on a few vocals over the years. It's really good. It's really good. Does its job. It's modeled after, I think, the Teletronics, yeah, the LA2A. So it's got a bit of a quickish attack, but it's transparent, which is why I liked it for this particular instrument. And the Neve 1073, which I mainly use for the high end. It does for me the best job out of all of the EQs that I have in dealing with the high end. So I just wanted to bring it down a little bit. If I play it to you without that, it sounded a bit too bright. So I just darkened it a bit. And also rolled off at 50 hertz. Gave a bit of a nudge at around 220 hertz and a dip at 360. Sometimes when you nudge and dip within the same sort of range, it gives a nice sound to it. Just try it out and see how it sounds. Now these congas I also recorded. Let me play for you the original clip. Again, it was recorded and then sped up because originally the tempo for this song was much slower. So a lot of the samples that I recorded, I went into Logic and I sped them up. You can just do that simply by clicking on the bottom right corner and holding Option if you're in a Mac, or Alt if you're on a PC, and just dragging it around. But well, no, we don't have Logic on PC, so anyway, doesn't matter. But that's it there. It's a recording which I just sped up a little bit, or shrunk, and hence, you know, it doesn't sound as clear. But the special thing that I did with this is I shifted its pitch using Logic's native pitch shifter. Reason being is it wasn't in key with the rest of the song. Now, as you all know, this song is in B major, if I'm not mistaken. So even the percussion had to be tuned. So I tuned it about 6 semitones up. Doesn't sound as clean on its own, but in the track it works great. Now for the shaker, again, just to control those highs, I dipped it just a little bit here on the Neve 1073 and then cut it at 360. So that's the shaker without the EQ, with the EQ, just to clean up the bottom, but I also spread it out just to give it some spatial element. That's it without and with. Awesome. And the clap, well, I didn't affect at all because I liked it. I got this clap, I will show you, from Vienna Instruments. No, sorry, from Battery. Here we go. It's probably one of my favorite drum sampling machines. So I just sampled some old claps that I had and put it in there and sent that to +1. So all the drums together sound like this. And before we go, just one special thing that I did with the clap. Let me just bring in my piano roll here. Now, if you take a look closely, these are actually 3 claps that I layered. That one, and that one. But you'll see I sort of didn't quantize them and offset them slightly so that it gives you a sort of, I don't know, like it sounds richer that way. That way. So all together. Alright, so that's it. The next freak tip vid, we're going to be looking at the bass and the guitars that I have in this track. But for now, it's happy tweaking.